You're listening to Online Pet Health Podcasts with Dr. Megan Kelly. Continuing education for veterinarian rehabilitation therapists. Learn more at onlinepethealth.com.
Hey Vet Rehabbers, it's one of my Behind the Vet Rehab Practice podcasts, and today I chat with Alex Ciuperca from Vet Physio Center in Romania. In my Behind the Vet Rehab Practice podcast, we learn from vet rehabbers from all around the world how they practice vet rehab. They share their challenges, wins, and losses in the hope that we can learn from their mistakes so we don't make the same ones that they did. They also share their tips and advice and how they navigate through this crazy world we live in today, and we get a glimpse into their vet rehab life. Before we head over to my interview, I just want to remind you all of the amazing vet rehabber communities we have on Facebook. This is where the vet rehabbers from all over the world meet up every day. They share their cases and ask for advice. And it doesn't matter if you practice alone, you never have to feel alone ever again. We're all online waiting there for you. So come and join one of the fastest growing vet rehab communities and learn from like-minded vet rehabbers. Everyone there is wanting to expand their knowledge, learn and grow into the best therapists that they can be. And you can find them on Facebook. There are the Hydro Vet Rehabbers, Small Animal Vet Rehabbers, Equine Vet Rehabbers, and the Business Vet Rehabbers. Over to my interview with Alex. Welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Megan. Thank you for having me here.
Alex, won't you please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got into the field of veterinary rehabilitation?
Yes, I am 38 years old. I graduated from the vet school of Bucharest in 2006. The same year I opened general practice. And after 7 years, I started to think about going into a special field of veterinary medicine. So I decided to do a couple of international certificates. So I followed one acupuncture certificate in Netherlands, and the other one was a rehabilitation certificate with the University of Tennessee. So since 2014, I opened my second practice, which is a only rehab practice, and I'm fully dedicated to rehabilitation ever since.
Now, Alex, you come from Romania. Now, that is a country where we don't have a lot of vet rehab therapists. How many are there currently now practicing in Romania?
So when I finished my CCRP course in 2013, I remember that Professor Daryl Millis, who is one of our founding fathers of rehabilitation, called me the grandfather of rehabilitation in Romania, because I was really the first one to do this. And now after 7 years or 6 years, I think we are maybe 4 rehab practitioners that have good and solid education background for doing rehabilitation. So we are only 4.
Yeah, and because there's so few of you, do you find that it's a problem for vets and getting referrals? I mean, is veterinary rehabilitation known in Romania with the veterinary professionals?
We are known in Romania because at least I did a lot of lectures, and I made sure that I made myself aware, I made my work aware into veterinary Romanian field. I'm sure that sending patients, it's not a problem, but for the doctors that work in cities that don't have a specialist.
Yeah.
So only in that cities it's a problem, but I have patients coming from 200, 300 kilometers away to my practice.
So they're referring to you. Their biggest problem is that because there's so few of you, there's certain areas where, you know, there are pets and animals that are not actually able to be treated.
We have this problem, yes.
Yeah. Now, Alex, you sit with myself on the board of the Iavrpt, And we always have this problem about actually pronouncing your name. So I'm saying Alex now, but you know, if I actually wanted to introduce you with your real name, should I say, it would be Ionut. Is this something that is always a problem for you? So for the listeners, Alex just said to me, I said, is this right? Am I pronouncing it right? He said, you can just call me Alex. So I said, okay, let's just do it. And now we thought, well, maybe actually have a conversation about it.
Actually, I have two first names. The first one is Ionut, which
Ionut.
actually means Johnny,
Okay.
because the I it's a J in English,
Okay. Yeah.
so makes more
Okay.
sense now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Alex, it's my international name because nobody in US or Germany or Denmark or Holland, Netherlands can even come closer my name. So I decided I was waiting in line for to get a coffee in the Denver airport a few years ago, and
Yeah.
I noticed that the lady who was selling coffee asked your name so they can call it later. And I
Yes.
said, no way she will able to call my name. So I said Alex, and since then my international name is Alex.
Okay. So you just made it up, right? It was just something that came to mind.
No, it's actually my middle name.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Yeah,
it's your
it is.
middle name.
Yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
is. It is. It's
Okay.
easier for US to
Yeah.
pronounce.
Yeah. Okay. So, for those of you that are interested, we are actually busy at the moment looking at all the nominations for the Iavrpt Award. So the board has decided to create an amazing award for the basically veterinary rehabilitation professional of the year, and it's going to be announced at this year's Vet Rehab Summit on the 14th of November. So we're really excited about it, aren't we, Alex? And we're going to have 8 finalists, which will be announced pretty soon. And so the community is going to be able to vote for it. So it's something we're really excited about.
This is a special project that we, the board, have, and this is thanks to you, Megan. And it's very special because we can, the International Association for Vet Rehabilitation will give an yearly award for the best rehab practitioner in the world. And all the members can vote. We will have, I think, 8 finalists, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we can all vote, and somebody will be announced at the
Vet Rehab Summit. Yeah.
Vet Rehab Summit, right?
Yeah.
And then the prize, we'll see if, next year.
Yeah. Yeah, the actual award will be given hopefully at Cambridge. So
Hopefully.
obviously we're trying to work out now with COVID whether we're actually going to be able to have the live conference. So yeah, hopefully the actual award will be handed in person at Cambridge next year at the IAVOPT conference. So looking forward to that.
My gut feeling says we will be able to see each other in Cambridge.
Oh, me too. I really hope so. I really hope so. But let's chat a little bit more about you and your practice.
Okay.
So you obviously have your veterinary practice, and then you have the rehab practice. Now, how do you juggle the two? Are you practicing at both, or are you primarily just doing vet rehab now?
Actually, I'm not working at both since 2014 now. After I opened my first practice, so after 2006, I was looking for, I was very interested in orthopedics and locomotion. And basically it's a passion of mine that I have ever since I started this profession. And after I did my 2 certificates, so rehabilitation and acupuncture, my plan was like this. So I was running a good and solid practice already, a general practice. And I thought like this, I will, actually my first thought was, should I open the rehab practice in the already practice that I had, or should I open a standalone clinic? And this was a concern for me. And I was in Birmingham for a big veterinary congress, and I was listening to Pere Mercader, who's a management specialist from Spain. And then I asked him a private question about my problem. What should I do? Should I open a separate practice, or should I incorporate in my old one? And his question to me was like this: do you do a lot of orthopedic surgery? And I said no. Then if your veterinary world in Romania, it's the same like in Spain, when everybody fights and struggles for each client and each patient, if you want a lot of referrals, my advice to you is to open a standalone practice. So this is what I did. And I thought first, okay, I will risk a couple of €100 per month for a rent. And if I will have like 1, 2, 3 patients every week, I will be very happy for that. But in 6 months after I started my rehab practice, I was fully working in the second practice, and I never worked again in my first practice.
So you're happy with the way you set it up? That was the right thing for you to do?
Yes, because when I started this, in Romania, we didn't have a lot of referring, how do I say this? We don't have a lot of referral practices. So we don't have this policy politics to refer patients. So when I first opened, everybody who referred to me patients, they weren't afraid that I'm going to do vaccination or other kind of treatments to my patients. So I'm happy with the way I started.
And tell me now, so how does your practice work? Have you got an assistant, or is it just you working at the vet rehab practice?
So now and always since 2014, I have only one assistant, because now I'm fully booked. So probably in the next month, I have to hire somebody else, because I will also have a new underwater treadmill. But I had one assistant and myself.
And what are the type of hours that you're working, and how many days per week?
So I started working Mondays to Fridays from 9 o'clock until 6 o'clock p.m. But I noticed that I had one problem. And the problem was that I couldn't cover the clients finishing working hours. So the clients coming from 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. And I couldn't cover the clients that were able to come very early in the morning. So 2 years ago, I decided to change my schedule, and I started to work Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but from 7:30 in the morning until 7:30, 8 p.m. And this is how I am able to satisfy a whole range of clients.
Yeah, and does that work better for you? I mean, like, do you feel like, because you're not working then on a Tuesday and a Thursday, does that help you a little bit to have a day's break? Because it's quite a long day, right? It's like a 12-hour day.
Yes, I'm really tired next morning, but I also have, I think, more time for my family. And I also have time to do other paperwork if I have to do.
Yeah. So you do the business type of things, or if you're doing a lecture, you can do those on the Tuesday and the Thursday. So you get to do the admin and then work really hard on the other days.
Yes. I mean, I work, my full capacity now, it's about 25, 26 patients a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's busy. And so you've also got an underwater treadmill. So are you doing that, or is the assistant helping with putting the dogs in the underwater treadmill?
No, my assistant is mainly to assist the dogs into the underwater treadmill, also to change programs for the electrical stimulation and help me with anything I need. My work, where I work very hard, is with neurologic patients, with paraplegic and tetraplegic, and these are my really favorite ones. But for the last 2 or 3 years, I have different ways to treating them. So I'm not using the underwater treadmill anymore, and I'm using only my arms and the special treadmill to work them. So it's very challenging for me.
And what is the reason that you've made that change? Is that something that you just decided works better for you?
No, uh, I noticed that the treadmill was the best modality to work with a neurologic deficit patient. So after working in the underwater treadmill, I started to work with them 5 or 10 minutes on the normal treadmill, and I saw that they are making big improvements after working with me. So after like 2 years ago, I switched and I did 20, 30 minutes on the regular treadmill with different speeds and less time in the underwater treadmill. But the idea was that they are recovering faster, and the patients that don't have deep pain sensation can begin to spinal walk.
So have you got those, so you're talking about a ground treadmill and you've got the dogs suspended, and then are you placing for them and walking? So you're physically on the ground, basically next to the treadmill.
Yes, but I'm not walking them because this would mean that they are doing passive exercises. I let the treadmill to elicit the flexor reflex of their dogs, and holding them usually between their back legs at that height and at that rhythm that will make the most beneficial for their legs to start to move. So it's a dynamic kind of treadmill stimulation.
Okay, so are you supporting them physically, or have you got a hoist that is holding them up?
I have a hoist. I have a special ground treadmill with a big hoist, but I put them in the hoist only when they start to develop, to start to have leg motion. Until that point, I will always support with my hands.
Wow, so that's quite physical, right?
Really physical, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like Bordeaux dogs that weight 50 kilograms that I have to support with my hands
Yeah.
for 20-25 minutes.
So you mentioned that you're getting another underwater treadmill. So you obviously already have one underwater treadmill and a ground treadmill. That first treadmill, was it quite a big financial investment for you? So was it something that you were a little bit nervous to do?
So after I graduated my CCRP course in 2013, I said I will not open the practice until I will have a underwater treadmill. Unfortunately, I didn't have the money to buy one, so I started and built one myself with the help of a very good friend of mine. I'm very proud of that because it is still working, and I'm proud because also I encouraged and inspired people from a couple of different countries to start the same. I have a colleague in Slovenia and one in Israel who did started to build underwater treadmills for themselves, and their models really look like over 30,000 euros. So this one I built myself, and now I have ordered another one that should arrive soon. So
Okay.
I will have 2 underwater treadmills.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're really going to need some help with your 25 patients a day, suspending, and 2 underwater treadmills going.
Yes, I will have to hire somebody else, of course.
And are there people to hire? So, I mean, obviously one of the challenges, and I remember this in, when I opened my practice in 2006 here in South Africa, was that we didn't have any qualified people to hire, so especially doing underwater treadmill and things like that. So do you have people now that are coming through, or are you going to have to train people?
I don't have anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm going to, if I will be able to find trained personnel, the only person who could have trained them, it would be me.
Yeah.
So I have
Okay.
to train normal vet techs, and they will learn the rehab practice.
Yeah. So this investment now, the second treadmill, obviously the first one, you built yourself. It still probably costs quite a bit in order to do it, because I know all the components that you have to put up. But now you're obviously putting another investment. And it's something that I think that vet rehabbers are really nervous about. And an underwater treadmill is usually one of the biggest investments. It's one of those big ones. Have you had any worries? Have you been thinking, oh, is this a good idea? Because I think that there are a lot of vet rehabbers that's sitting in the same position. They've got 1 underwater treadmill already. Their practice is really going well. They're busy, and they're trying to make a decision. Should I do that next step and grow and get the next treadmill?
So I did a lot of research in the last 3 years, because I'm thinking about buying this new treadmill for the last 3 years. And manufacturers in China started to build, a lot of them started to build underwater treadmills, and they cost real cheaper than the ones in Europe or United States, but they are really smaller. I mean, if you put inside like a German Shepherd, it's with their head way up above the tank, the water tank. So I was thinking about this new investment for the last 3 years, and I thought that this year I will make the sacrifice, because of course I will have to finance it from the bank. But because I'm at my full capacity with my practice, and basically I almost cannot have new patients, I really need a second one, and a good one, and a reliable one. And yeah, this was my thought.
So you're going all in.
I'm going all in because Rehab gave me all to put in.
Let's chat a little bit about running the practice. What are your biggest challenges at the moment with running the vet rehab practice?
Since I'm that busy, I feel the need now that I need a reception and the receptionist, because I'm doing my appointments. I answer the phone whenever I can. So now I really need. I feel the need for somebody doing my client. How to say?
Communication, or
Yeah.
and are you taking payments too?
Yes.
Wow, yeah.
But what I did, I have like 10 session deals, which are cheaper than paying for every session, like 20% cheaper. So the customer usually pays a 10 session package, and I don't have to handle the money only like one every 5 weeks or something.
Yeah, that's really, really handy. So you obviously got it on a card or something like that, and you just mark off, exactly when they need to buy another 10 package.
Yeah, I have it on my written diary. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but
And
I really need somebody to plan
yeah,
all this for me.
that'll really help you and change your life, because you probably come out of the day with multiple messages on the answering phone that you have to then phone back, and then emails. Are you doing those at the end of the day, or do you then just follow up at the end
During
of the day?
during the day. Yeah,
Yeah. So you're probably crazy running from one thing to another.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody can resist one day work with me.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it'll be great for you to get a receptionist. And I think that when you get the second treadmill, you'll definitely need somebody just managing all of that. And what happens if somebody cancels an appointment or wants to cancel, then you're also answering that phone and trying to then fit them in and make appointments. Yeah.
Yeah, usually when they cancel, it's a very short phone or a message,
Yeah.
which usually I hate because it's with 5 or 10 minutes before the session, and I will have empty spot, and of course another client who maybe wanted to come now they cannot come, but that's life. So
Yeah. So let's move on to the marketing of the practice. So are you quite active on social media?
when I started my first patient, I bought a video camera, and what I did, I recorded every session that I had with a patient, and then I made some like short movies, like success movies, 1, 2, 3 minutes movies with my patients, and I started them on my Facebook page and on a YouTube channel. I have to admit that for the last 3 years, I had no time to make another movie, and my wife is handling the Facebook page and my social media now.
Okay, yeah. You definitely need somebody to help you with that. And so where do you get most of your clients from? Where are they coming from?
Probably 75% from referrals and 1/4 from visiting the internet page or the Facebook page.
Okay. So you're getting some traffic through social media or through Google, and people are looking for you.
Yes.
That's great. And are you doing quite a lot of the education to the pet owners in the area so that they are aware of the services that you have? So do you have a way in which you're educating them, or are they just looking for you?
So unfortunately, I have no time right now to have this client or customer education hours. But what I did and what I focused in the first years were lectures with veterinarians and at the orthopedic conventions and vet congresses, because educating normal vets and orthopedic surgeons probably will get me more referrals.
Yeah. And did you find that really helped you? I mean, by
Yes.
being there at the lectures and then getting to meet them and them knowing about what you can do and knowing you?
No, I was doing the lectures, so
Yeah.
I had some lectures with this, and it was really helpful. Yes,
Yeah.
because most of the orthopedic surgeons know me and refer to me.
And then obviously your primary GP practice, you're also getting the vets that are working there can also refer to you, right?
Yes, but it's not a focus from there because it's I don't like to mix things. Yes, if there is a case or some cases that need rehabilitation, they will send them to me, but that's not the biggest referring.
Yeah. Okay.
Usually the orthopedic surgeons, they refer to me.
So when Alex is not being a vet rehab therapist or a vet, what is he doing? So what are your hobbies?
Now my hobby is my family and my children because I am totally in love with them. And between rehab practice and family, I like to work in the garden. I like to go whenever I can to on the mountains if I can. And me and my wife, we love to go to art. How do you say?
Exhibitions.
Exhibitions,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And also, I started the philosophy school 2 years ago, and philosophy and reading, it's another big passion of mine.
Wow. So, Alex, if you could give a vet rehabber who is just coming into the field one piece of advice, what would it be?
Uh, for me, it's very simple. Whenever you start, if you want to start rehabilitation, you don't need very expensive tools or equipment. You need two things. One, it's a good education. Without a good education, you are not a good rehabilitation person. And the second, and as important as the first one, is to have patience. Patience, you understand, right? Not patience.
Yes, yes, I do.
Because when you look from outside and you see this dog now and this dog in 6 months, you say, wow, the dog can walk like a wonder, like a miracle. But for us rehab practitioner, it's a very, uh, it's the same thing day on and day on. We do the same thing every hour. And if you don't have the good mind to stay focused and you don't have patience, you will not succeed.
Yeah, we need a lot of perseverance just to keep going.
Persevere.
Don't give up,
Yeah.
because we get those outcomes. You just got to keep going.
We need stubbornness.
Yeah, I love it. Alex, thank you so much. It's been wonderful chatting to you. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge and for letting us know how you run your practice. And I'm sure that there are loads of vet rehabbers that have learned lots from this talk.
Thank you, Megan, for having me here. And I think you're doing a really good job, not only here, but also in the board. And thank you again very much.
Thanks, Alex. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. And please, if you get a moment, head over to Stitcher or iTunes and leave me a review. It's a really lonely job being a podcaster, and so the only time I get to hear from you or know that you're out there is when I get a review. And know that I read every single one of your reviews. So to those of you that have left reviews, I want to say a very, very big thank you. Every time we get a review, it really helps to get the veterinary rehabilitation podcast out there to all the vet rehabbers all over the world. All right, vet rehabbers. So if you are looking for more continuing education in the field of veterinary rehabilitation, head over to onlinepetart.com. Go be awesome, guys.